tell us, what is a student's like mindset and where do they begin if they're looking to study abroad?
Studying abroad is a very long process. My consultant told me that you have to get a credential evaluation. I was like, what is it? Government entities in US and Canada, they don't understand the Indian grading system. Most of the CEOs, they move from India for their higher education. You know, Google, Microsoft, IBM, we do over 500,000 evaluations a year, out of which 30 to 35% comes from India. Every 3 weeks, there are like 10 new universities that come up in India.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Alina Dissects. I have seen that you guys have been watching the episodes and loving it, but please leave like your comments below over here instead of other platforms. Having said that, today's episode is very interesting for me because I've had a lot of questions all through these years about education and education in India versus education abroad. And today we're going to speak to our guest, deep dive into that topic. So we have here today Abhinav from Wes, who handles the digital marketing. He's going to talk to us about his journey and the whole process and information about education here in India and education abroad also. Welcome to Alina Dissect.
Thank you so much, Alina. It's been fun. I love your space and great energy.
Yeah, I'm glad. So excited to have you. And I have so many questions to ask in terms of like education. And a lot of our followers are actually students. So they are just starting out their careers or they've, done their basic education and want to know what does this entire thing entail of like moving abroad and what is the process? So tell us about your beginning.
Sure. So I'm originally from New Delhi.
Okay.
I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
Well, it was fun because, as you know, doing engineering with a bunch of guys, it's always fun. After that, I was kind of struggling in terms of figuring out what I want to do. So I moved to Dubai. My first thing that I did, I got a job there in oil and gas construction. Working there, I was struggling a little bit in terms of growth, and I didn't really enjoy what I was doing as part of like what I wanted to do in life. And then that's when I started doing my research on how I can move to US or UK or anywhere for like my further studies. I did consult Princeton Review at that time. I'm talking about like 12 years back, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. So Princeton Review helped me with like GRE and kind of understand the format of what all you need to do to move to states or for your higher education.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where pretty much my journey started because I was in a situation where I was not really enjoying. And my dad told me that, whenever you're confused, just go for another education or another degree that might help you. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. So I applied to different schools. I gave my GRE and I got into some of the good schools in US and decided to pick New York University for my master's.
And why did you choose to like move abroad versus universities that are over here?
It's a great story. I've actually no idea why I did that.
Okay.
I just knew that since I was in Dubai, I didn't want to move back to India.
Okay.
And I want to explore a little bit more. Dubai gave me a very different perspective of international working.
Right.
And I felt that there's more to that.
Okay.
And, I had no, like people say that they're American dream and things like that. I really didn't have an American dream. All I knew is that I want to get out of that situation wherever I can go.
Okay.
So I picked US because I got into some of the good schools there after my GRE score. And that was the only reason for me to like move there, honestly.
Okay, understood. So tell us that when you get into this process now, since you've done it, tell us what is a student's like mindset and where do they begin if they're looking to study abroad?
So studying abroad is a very long process. Like initial process is really long. First thing you have to figure out is, where do you want to go? Like, is it US? Is it Canada? Is it Australia? But either way, you have to give GRE or GMAT, whatever you are considering. You have to give TOEFL or IELTS since English is not our first language here. There are some schools, they don't require GRE, GMAT, but most good schools, they require it.
Okay.
And the biggest challenge which I faced when I was doing is, should I do it myself or should I get a consultant or an agent who can actually help me with that?
Right.
I chose the consultant route, and I got help from someone in terms of all the documentations I would need, the schools I want to pick, and the ranking and everything, what subjects I want to pick. I was actually looking into doing my master's in mechanical engineering, but then I switched to technology management when I found out with more research that actually the job market is better, and you can pick and choose different roles after you graduate with that. So kind of like those research part was very intense. And then you learn about so many different things that you need. Like, for instance, your bachelor's degree, in certain places, they might require a credential evaluation. And that's where I'm going to talk about the company I work for right now. I had no idea what WES is, World Education Services. And that was the point once my consultant told me that you have to get a credential evaluation. I was like, what is it? Like, why, if I have my bachelor's from such a good university, why do I need that? So the schools in US and government entities in US and Canada, they don't understand the Indian grading system.
Right.
They go by 4.0 GPA, right? And there are a lot of schools, there are a lot of fraudulent degrees, there are a lot of fraudulent schools here, as you must be aware. So they want to rely on a entity like us to help them understand the credentials. Okay, your 4 years bachelor's degree in India is equivalent to 4 years bachelor degree in US. So I'm going to talk about this later with you. But yeah, that was one of the learning process for me. It was very challenging in terms of understanding. And this is just one aspect of all the visa documentation that you have to do prior applying to school, getting your I-20, getting a visa slot, getting your visa confirmed, getting your tickets, accommodation. There are so many so many different aspects that you have to look into. So it's better to like have a consultant at least help you plan out all the things that you're supposed to do.
Right. And how do you pick like the best consultant who's going to help you to do this?
Word of mouth, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
My dad had a good network of friends whose kids went to abroad and, you know, their process was successful. So he checked around and then we found out, I don't know if they still exist, Chopra's, I think.
Okay.
And we just went ahead with them. And once you pick a consultant, you just have to trust them because it's the only way you get all the information. Apart from, of course, doing your own research and making sure whatever they're saying is correct and, you know, it's actually helping with your profile.
Right.
Or sometimes there are a lot of consultants who just want to, you know, it's their part of their job. So they're trying to get money from you. But at the same point of time, you have to see the success rate of the consultants. Make sure you speak with some of the alums from the consultant, like how they're doing and if there was any issue for them. And there are so many communities nowadays, like Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups. You can easily find them, join them, and get more information.
Right. So if I'm a student and I'm looking to study abroad, there's a consultant that we have. What part of it is it that I need to do and find out and research and do the application? And what is the part that they can take over?
So I think you have to do everything.
Okay. You have to research your own university?
Everything.
You have to research your own, what is the curriculum that you want, that you're looking at doing?
Yes.
Okay.
My advice is you take absolute control of where you're applying, why you're applying there, because some consultants have partnerships with universities.
Right.
So they will try to promote certain universities, which is fine because they are good. They're all good universities. But still, my advice is do your research and reach out to current students who are studying there. You can easily find them on LinkedIn, Facebook. Reach out to them, talk to them, ask them, like, how are you feeling there? Is the course right? I'm planning to do this. Get on a call with them. I did actually speak with a lot of people from different universities in US prior to moving.
As in students?
As a student, yeah. Through my dad's friends, kids, or my friends who have been there. I was able to get some idea of what it's like going there and studying there. Also getting an idea about different rankings of universities. For me, right now, 10 years later, what I would advise is look for the jobs that the students get after they graduate from there. Go on LinkedIn and search for your university graduates. Where are they working? What kind of jobs they're at? What location does that job have? Because the university location plays a major factor.
Okay.
Since I was in New York University, I was in the city. So I got to experience a lot of different things which you won't experience if you are in a university which is at a isolated location somewhere outskirts of like cities, different states.
Right.
So my advice is trying to find out which one you prefer. I was a little bit more inclined towards New York because you see it in the movies. And,
Okay.
so I applied for it. But definitely do your research. Like you should do your research. What the consultant will help you with is validating your research and providing you some more information about fees, about what
Procedure.
document, procedure, requirements, your credential evaluation. So I think
Right.
that's what you can get help from, but still you should do your complete research.
Okay.
yourself.
But like you said, look for the job opportunities that you have later. When a student goes, should they look at so far ahead, or should they be like, whichever is the best education I'm getting, I should be able to do that, because they don't know if they're going to be coming back or they're going to stay there.
Well, coming back or staying is a very different question. But I belong from a middle class family here. So my goal is to look at return on investment.
Right.
Right. So when I'm going there, when I look at it, if you're going for a STEM course, which most of us do, we go for our master's program. I'm talking about postgraduate mostly.
Right.
You want to look at your ROI. So you get a 3 years of OPT, which is optional practical training. Yes, you can complete your master's and come back. But my advice is, since you have that OPT option, you should work for 3 years and at least get the money back you paid for your master's.
Right. By working over there.
By
Makes
working
more
over there.
sense to have job experience if you have studied there. And how easy is that?
Yeah, definitely. Just to make sure I answered your previous question. So, getting a job is hard everywhere. Getting a job is hard in India too. One thing that helped me was when I moved to US is networking.
Okay.
So a lot of time what I noticed is a lot of folks who move there, if you're going from Delhi, they create their own Delhi group.
Yes.
और वो साथ में रहते हैं. They're
Right.
always together. वो कभी खाने भी साथ में जा रहे हैं, interview वो job fairs में साथ में जा रहे हैं. And even if you think about Mumbai people, they go there, they're together. Even a lot of Asian people like from China who move there, they're together.
Right.
That you should break that. You should go outside of your group. You should go outside of your culture, because one thing that US provides is diversity. There are majority of us like Indian students there, but people from entire world come there for their education.
Right.
And you have to interact with them. Once you interact with them, your perspective opens up. You see things differently. It helps you with your language. And I think we were talking about this earlier. I was an introvert when I moved there. And when I was talking to so many different people, learning about so many different cultures, it pushed me to like think beyond what I have learned so far in growing up in India. And while you are also doing this, you have to network a lot. You have to speak with different people who are at a position where you want to be. Their schools provide a lot of counseling facilities, job search facilities. When I was in my second semester, I was actually doing 2 on-campus jobs. I was working at the gym as cleaning the machines and stuff, and I was getting paid like $10 an hour.
Okay.
And then I was also working as a TA for a professor in a mechanical engineering department for just reviewing papers and invigilating exams and stuff for him. So I feel like all those things gives you a lot of perspective and also opens up your thought process. And your network is definitely your net worth there, because you can ask for referrals for jobs, and referrals work really strong in US
In getting a job?
in getting a job.
Okay.
I have so many people who reached out to me for job opportunities within my organization. And when you refer, your application gets a little more preference compared to all other applicants who are applying. So definitely try connecting with as many people as you can.
Right.
By attending as many events as you can, because you will have tons of events on the campus. So Indian mindset क्या होता है ना कि हम जाते हैं, हमारा goal ये रहता है कि I want to score the best.
Yeah.
I want to score. Getting a 3.9 GPA is not that hard in US.
For us.
For us. Because we are trained that way.
Yes.
But we have to break that mindset. We have to go beyond it, and we have to interact. I was a senator of the council. I was also president of Design Thinking Club. I also started actually a club for consulting where we would have different folks from PwC, Deloitte come and speak about different things. We would do case studies there for interview prep sessions and stuff like that. So I think wo sari cheeze helped me a lot. So the real learning happens outside of the classroom,
Right.
where you're engaging and you're learning. And also, like, you know, I was scared of my accent when I moved there, to be honest with you.
Okay.
मुझे लगा मैं इंग्लिश बोलूंगा या तो मेरे इंडियन दोस्त लोग मेरा मजाक उड़ाएंगे या तो अंग्रेजों को मेरी बात समझ नहीं आएगी. But they really like it when you try.
They're very welcoming.
Very
Yeah.
welcoming. Even like people from other countries who are there, everybody comes with completely different accent. And
Right.
that's the beauty of it. It's not the accent, it's what you're trying to communicate. And you get better at it when you do it more. So you have to go out, engage. And I think that's one of the things that definitely helped me.
I think it's very important. It's something that as students we don't understand because we look at it only from a textbook and education point of view. So I'm going to go there. I have to study. I have to work hard and all. But the actual growth happens outside of that circle. I actually had a team member move to UK to do her education. And she said, but you know, Alina, over here, all the Indians only together are going out and, you know, chilling and all. So I said, but you should make other friends also. You should be talking to people of different nationality. But they work in a very different manner. They don't be like, okay, let's go for a drive or let's get out. You have to set a timeline and all for them. So I said, but that's how you learn how
Yes.
to do it with them. Because they are different, of course. And Indians over there, if you're meeting them here also. It's the same thing. You're not really expanding your network.
No, absolutely. About setting a time, you know, it's definitely interesting and funny for us. क्योंकि हम यहाँ पे we just अबे चलते हैं,
Let's go.
Right?
Out. Let's go for a movie. Let's go. It doesn't work like that.
But the best part is they're actually respecting and valuing your time. That's
Right.
why they want to make
That's
sure.
why they schedule it.
Yeah, and it's interesting for us, and you know, but that's also a very key skills when you're in your professional world.
Right.
So it is funny, but it's interesting when you put it that way. I was just thinking about it.
About your
Yeah.
lifetime and how, like, there's so many differences. I feel like if you can knack that and network, even for example, I studied over here, but most of my learning was outside the classroom.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, like I'm gonna dissect a little bit to a different conversation here. At WES, World Education Services, we have 400 employees,
Okay.
and they represent 60 different countries
Wow.
and speak more than 50 languages. And what makes it special is, you know, the diversity helps with the innovation. You know,
course.
that's the key factor at WES, like literally. And that's why I love working here is I go to someone and I say, hey, you know, in India, we do it this way. They're like, oh, wait, we also have something similar. And, you know, you just connect on that. And then you learn that we are so different, but similar.
Right.
And that's the beauty of, like, you know, moving abroad and experiencing that. And it doesn't matter. You come back to India, you stay there. I decided to stay there because I enjoy the lifestyle there. I enjoy what kind of life I've built for myself there. But even if you come back, you're coming back with wealth of knowledge, experience, which you would probably not get staying at a place where you are,
Very comfortable.
where you're comfortable. But when you come back, it actually widens your perspective as well. You learn to interact with so many different people from so many different cultures that helps you actually people manage better when you come back.
Right. Makes a lot of difference. But going back to after your education that you had over there, what were like your options in the job market and how difficult was it for you personally to kind of crack the job that you really like?
So before even talking about job, the most important thing you have to get is an internship.
Okay.
That's part of your curriculum. And during my situation, I didn't actually have an internship. And why I'm highlighting so much and speaking so much about networking is I was actually planning to come back to India and take a take a semester gap and then go back and figure out my situation, taking an extra credits or studying another coursework or something because I didn't have internship. So I was sitting at a coffee shop and I was just randomly thinking about, okay, I have to book my tickets back to India. And this gentleman sitting next to me, we just started talking. We just started like chatting. And then I found out that he has an internship opportunity in his company.
Wow.
It wasn't the best job that I wanted to do, but it was in a financial management company, and it was like a financial something intern where you just have to do and research about different financial entities and provide data for them and stuff like that. And I spoke to him. I said, I'm looking for an internship. He's like, when can you start? I said, right now. I can start right now.
Okay.
And he's like, do you want to interview today? I'm like, sure. So he sends me to his office. I interview there. I get an offer letter right away. I was making $15 an hour, which is not what my friends were making in different, internships at Goldman Sachs or Chase or whatever they were working. But that helped me. So striking a conversation with like people over there like that, it helps. And that he's still part of my network, and I'm still grateful to him for that. Finding a job, it's a very different process. Finding a job, what I recommend everyone is your challenge is not getting to US. It's the easy process because you can pay money to a consultant, anyone, and you can get there.
Right.
Your challenge starts from there. You do your own laundry. You clean your own dishes.
Right.
You clean your own...
Which Indians are not used to. Yeah.
And I learned how to do laundry when I moved there, and I never had to do it.
But people don't realize this is a big struggle because we have so much help over here. We take it for granted.
Yep.
And once you have to live on your own wherever in the world, you figure out, these are life skills that we didn't acquire.
Absolutely. Cooking. I didn't know how to cook. I could only make eggs, and it was a mess. But anyway, so coming back to the topic about jobs, the day you land there, start building your profile.
Okay.
Your LinkedIn should be everything for you from day one. Start finding unpaid internships. There's an organization that I'm happy to share that I'm part of, voluntarily work there. It's called Catch a Fire.
Okay.
It's like you can work with nonprofit organizations, and they will actually tell you, with your help, how much money they were able to save. It shows up on your dashboard.
Okay.
So far, I've contributed actually $60,000 worth of my work. And if they're simple projects, you're helping them with, let's say, even Excel or a website recommendation or a strategy call about marketing or whatever your skill set is, you can help those organizations with because they don't have enough funding to do that. Start building your profile. Once you build your profile, take part in all these, like extracurricular activities like consulting club, design thinking, and all those things. That helps you build your profile. Once you have built your profile, start working on your speech. Start working on your how would you introduce yourself.
Okay.
I'm not going to start from, hey, I was here, I born, then mix it up. You have to figure out what flow works better. One thing, the biggest mistake that I did on my time, which I would advise folks not to do, I used one resume for every job.
Okay.
My advice is to select 10 to 20 jobs that you definitely are interested in and tweak your resume for each one of those.
Okay.
What they want, and highlight those aspects instead of just having a standard resume. So that was one of the challenging things, which I didn't remember at that time. So definitely. Also networking that I mentioned. Go ahead, reach out to folks on LinkedIn, request for referrals. Don't be ashamed. Now we have GPT to help us with that, like help write a quick message. So definitely, explore that.
We're coming back to WES now. And so please tell our audiences what WES exactly is and how it helps to kind of evaluate your process.
Sure. So I started working at WES 5 years back.
Okay.
And the first time I learned about WES when I was applying to schools in US. One of the schools that I was applying to required a credential evaluation. And I was not sure what it meant. So basically, WES is one of the largest credential evaluation company. We do two things. First, we do a validation of your credentials and your university.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that wherever you have received your education from is a recognized organization within the country, within India, and you've actually received the degree. After we do that authentication, we do credential equivalency to whichever country you're moving. So we'll say, okay, 4 years of bachelor's degree that you have in India is equivalent to 4 years in US or 4 years in Canada.
Okay.
So that's the equivalency part. So what makes West different is a lot of organization does this, but they miss the verification part, or they do it in a different way.
Okay.
We have been in business for 50 years. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. So we have wealth of research. We work with a lot of universities in US, in Canada, a lot of government bodies in US and Canada. So we have that strength of research and knowledge, which makes us very different.
Right.
And as I was mentioning, our staff, we have representing 60 different countries, so they can understand different degrees, different education system. So why this is required by the US universities is because they don't understand the Indian grading system or the Indian education system. This helps them understand the how the Indian grading system is and what your credentials in India is worth for the US or the Canadian market. It also helps you take your education further. So for me, the best West experience was when I applied for Canadian immigration. And I'll tell you why I did that. US visa process is it's not straight. It's not simple.
Right.
Lot of challenges.
Yes.
So when I was facing a little bit of visa issues, I decided there was an opportunity to apply for Canadian immigration. And I was like, maybe I should apply for this. This might be a good opportunity. And as a part of the application process, I had to get a WES evaluation. And the best part was that since I already had a WES evaluation, it was easier for me to upgrade and getting an ECA for Canada with them.
Okay. So as a student, do you get in touch with WES, or does the consultant company get in touch with WES? And then when you need a PR or a visa, stay visa, that's when you get in touch with WES and they help you?
Get in touch with WES the moment you decide that you're moving to US, honestly.
Okay.
Start your application right away. You don't have to send your report anywhere. Once you finalize which universities you're going, based on the requirements from the university, send your reports to them.
Okay.
The WES evaluation for US and for Canada for higher education never expires.
Okay.
Only the ECA that you do for Canadian immigration has a 5 years validity because that's the partnership we have with the Canadian government.
Okay.
That's a requirement from them.
Okay.
So since it's valid for lifetime, you can come back anytime. You can send it to different universities once you're ready. But my advice is whenever you decide, just do it. The second thing is you can do your own application 100%. It's 3 simple steps.
Okay.
Or your consultant can do it, whatever you prefer. For my case, I did it myself when I was applying for Canadian immigration, and it was a pretty straightforward process. One thing that I definitely want to highlight is pre-COVID, in the WES process, once you submit your application, we ask you some simple information about yourself, about which university you studied, and which university you're sending your scores, NYU, Columbia, whatever you're sending your evaluation. Once you submit your application, you receive a WES reference number. And then you have to send your bachelor's degree to us from your university, which used to be a very challenging part before because you had to do it through mail.
Okay.
During COVID, we have an amazing team which worked really hard. And I'm really proud to say that close to 90% of the schools in India, we have digital partnership with them now.
Okay.
What that means is now once you submit your application, we exactly send you the required documents. And we also mention if we have digital partnership with your university. So let's say you're from Mumbai University. You go on the website of Mumbai University, you request them to send us a document and it digitally comes to us.
Okay.
It's a very simple process now. It used to be hard before because you had to physically mail it to us and there were so many complex issues around that, but now it's pretty straightforward. And then once we receive that, we validate. After validation, we do your equivalency. Okay. So overall, the process is very straightforward. And then we ourselves send the report to the university you are applying to. So it could be NYU, Columbia, wherever you're applying. So the overall process is pretty straightforward. It definitely strengthens your application. Even if let's say the school doesn't require a credential evaluation, check with the consultant, check with your university, counselor who's helping you. is it better for me to send a WES evaluation? And if they say yes, no, maybe, either way, it strengthens your application because the university in US, they don't really understand the your credentials of your home country.
Right. And so how does WES work with like immigrant students to help them understand the credit systems of the universities abroad?
We have tons of information on our website. First. Second, we have something called WES, WENR, where we share a lot of information about education system from different countries.
Okay.
So we have some free tools on our website. You can go and check what's your GPA stands, whatever score you have here. Let's say 79% or 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. What does it stand against a 4.0 GPA? We have a free GPA tool on our website. We have a degree equivalency tool on our website where you can go and check your degree equivalency. Okay. So we have tons of information on the website. We do help students with that, but we also provide a lot of webinars and different platforms where we share different information about credential evaluation and how that can help you.
Right. And so you started working with WES as a digital marketing head, but like what does your work entail?
Everything.
Okay.
I think we were just talking about that earlier. I also manage our website along with the director who helps look after the whole website. Mostly my work entails communicating the importance of credential evaluation to folks who might need it.
Okay.
The reason why I say might is because everyone has different journey of their higher education moving to US and Canada. And if you're planning to move to US and Canada, you will either learn about WES from different sources. But my goal is to make sure that you get aware about WES at a very early stage. So you start the process as soon as possible.
And so in this community, how do you kind of like communicate with them through like digital?
Yeah, we do different platforms. We have our WES Instagram for India specifically. We have our main WES Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We do a lot of blog posts. We partner with different publishing agencies to do webinars and things like that nature. We also have digital partnership with a lot of universities in India, as I was mentioning. We try to outreach as much as possible, but at the same point of time, we also do a lot of groundwork. Like I'm traveling right now throughout India at different international fairs, speaking with different students, helping them understand, even though it's a very small part of the entire immigration process for you to move to US or Canada, but it's critical for you to know what your credentials are worth and how it can help you strengthen your application.
Right. And what do you think is like the biggest mistake that students do when they're planning to move abroad?
I think the biggest mistake, I have to think about it, but for me, I felt like one of the biggest mistake that I did was I didn't do as much research on where to live.
Okay.
And I ended up picking Queens. And I was like an hour away from my school. It was easier to take the train and everything. The reason why I picked Queens is because most of the Indian students live there.
Okay.
I feel like I could have lived in a little bit different location.
Right.
Would have gotten a little bit different exposure, might have helped a little bit more in getting accustomed to the culture and the environment better. Because as we were talking about it, we moved from India, we try to stay in that community. It breaks that. So my advice would be to do a little bit more research on where you want to stay.
Okay.
And don't stress too much about the education side of it. Just remember you're going there for a learning, but mostly with fun. Like you're going to have fun. That's what I went with a mindset that, okay, I'm going to score this much. I'm going to be at the top of the class and things like that. But honestly, it was more fun journey than being a very sort of education focused.
Okay. A lot of students from tier 2, tier 3 cities in India would like to move abroad, but they have this mindset that it is inaccessible. And I come from the mindset that is actually not that difficult if you plan it out in a certain way. Like for example, your loans, and there's so many different ways, scholarships, so many different ways that you can kind of study abroad. What would you say to like them in terms of educate like abroad? Like there's obviously one section of society that means like, okay, I can pay this and I can go abroad. But then one is aspirational, that I want to do this, but I don't know if I will be able to.
I think so we have different financial challenges, right? Everybody comes from different family background, and depending on that, you decide where you could go or how you could go. And the other thing is your performance, like how you've performed so far educationally and work experience and things like that.
Right.
Scholarships, yes. Look for scholarships. I did get a scholarship from NYU. The reason why I got a scholarship is because I had some work experience and I was able to build a really good profile, and I accidentally had a decent GRE score.
Okay. Did you apply directly for a scholarship? Is that how people can apply?
Yes, you can. So for my case, they offered me scholarship.
Okay.
Yes. But in certain cases, you can reach out to the university and request them, and based on your case, what case you're putting forward, why you need the scholarship, there are chances that they could help you with that.
Okay.
I think consultants do help with that as well, helping you put it together as a case. But yeah, my advice is to definitely sort of like build your profile for that. At the same point of time, do research on the website, like what kind of scholarship they offer. And most cases, they do offer some sort of scholarship for students.
Yeah, but I also think that a lot of Indians just go with loans, because it does help a lot. Now we have a whole proper system that facilitates a lot of students to be able to go abroad. Like the banking sector in our country is all behind the students to be able to study abroad. So I think that is something that, younger generation can look up to. In terms of WES, what kind of evaluation do they exactly look at if they are looking at the procedure?
Yeah, for sure. So we do offer different, as I mentioned, like different type of evaluation based on what the university needs.
Okay.
We have something called document by document, where we evaluate your complete degree based on what the university requires. And we have course by course. Okay. Which makes sense. We're doing exact course by course evaluation. And then the third, we have the ECA for Canada, which is your credential evaluation for Canadian immigration.
Right.
So when you're applying for WES, you can check on the university requirements. What do they require? Do they require D by D? Do they require C by C? Okay. Or they require a WES basic evaluation? Either way, they should be able to provide you with an idea.
Okay.
The evaluation process is very internal to WES. We basically look into a lot of different factors. We'll look into what your school is recognized by, like UGC, University Grant Commission in India, if it's NAC approved, and then how you have performed. And based on those certain factors, we have our internal process and policies to evaluate your degrees. Right. To that, I also want to highlight that certain 3-year degrees are also equal to like having a 4 years of bachelor's degree in US.
Yeah.
So we do that evaluation as well. And my personal advice is anybody who has a 3 years degree, which is I think 15 years of education, definitely get a WES evaluation because it does strengthen your application.
Right. And in terms of the trends that are happening in the market in terms of education, what do you see is like the shift? Like we were speaking about how 10 years ago it was a different scenario. Now it's a different scenario. Where do you think the education system for students is?
That's a loaded question, but I feel like AI has a lot to do with everything that is changing right now.
Really?
Absolutely. I feel like mostly either we go for like computer science or we go for management in US, right? And it's shifting a lot, like finance, accounting, even biotechnology and stuff like that. Those different courses, there are like more than 20,000 courses now. And I guess 30 years back, there used to be like 300 courses available. And as the world is changing technologically, or everything that is shifting, there are more courses being introduced to accommodate different requirements, like social media, AI, artificial intelligence, is so big right now that most schools are offering some sort of degrees and course, and a lot of folks are planning to shift to the AI direction. So I feel like that way the education system is like very flexible in US, and even in India. I feel like a lot of courses have opened up based on what the requirements are coming up. But I feel like in US, definitely you have more opportunity to pick and choose and specialize in certain aspects of it.
Right. Okay. So I have to ask you this because personally, I feel like there's been a lot of change in the last 10 years. And so if you told me 10 years ago how important it is to go study abroad to get a job, it would be really important. But times are changing so fast that today we've had big companies not look at your MBAs, look at more like a work experience and all. So as of today, how important is it to be going abroad and studying versus maybe just starting out in India because there's so much opportunity over here?
For me, I think it depends on individual.
Okay.
Everybody has their own journey, right? Look at some of the big CEOs right now. Like everyone, like most of the CEOs, they moved from India for their higher education, and Google, Microsoft, IBM. So I think the what it helps you with when you go there is widen your perspective and your knowledge. You're interacting with some of the smartest people in the world who are there for this one sole reason, is to learn.
Right.
And when you engage with them, when you learn about different things, it helps you understand the same problem you're trying to solve with your own business here or there, the customer base, like the experience you want to offer. I think that mindset shift helps a lot of folks who want to pursue the entrepreneurial journey.
Okay.
So I feel like overall, the change in environment, the meeting with different people, and the advanced technology and other things that you have access to there helps you widen your range.
Right.
And it is challenging to figure out, you want to stay there and fight the visa process and everything, or do you want to come back and be more flexible? To each their own, sort of like how they want to pick their battle. But overall, I feel like it polishes you. It polishes you for the industry. And the pathway from education to immigration is actually more softer, because you are not only learning the education system, but you're also learning how to engage with your environment there.
Okay. So one part of it is the learning, the growth, and you broaden your horizon. What about the job opportunities or opportunities for, business? Was there versus here now?
Finding a job in US is definitely, I would say it depends on individual.
Okay.
A lot of people had a very smooth sort of process and experience. For me, it was really hard because I was shifting from mechanical engineering, construction to digital marketing and website. So I didn't have experience. So for me, it was hard to get that first step in, but once I was in, it was very easy. You can develop your skills. You can do multiple things. You can engage with different communities, learn so much about it online. And there's so many free tools available now too. And with AI, like literally you can be a champion overnight on anything. So I feel like getting that first step in is hard, but as you start building your profile, as you start working through it, it gets easier. Overall job market is, I feel like everywhere it's the same. It's hard to find a job. But if you keep working on your profile, as I was talking about it earlier, it definitely opens up a lot of doors for you. And speaking of specialization, I think in demand, whatever you're noticing for your time, like during that time, digital marketing was at a peak.
Yeah.
So I was able to tap into that. I feel now it's more of like AI.
Yeah.
So if you're considering going for your master's, maybe focusing a little bit more specialization towards AI for product or marketing, whatever you're picking as a core, it does help you with that.
Right. And we've spoken a lot. I think I have now more clarity about moving abroad than I had before this chat. But I do want to ask, since you mentioned that Wes is celebrating 50 years, how has the company evolved through the years with all the transition that we've seen in this sector?
I think the fun fact is that 1974, when WES was founded, it did 20 evaluations in a year.
Okay.
And now we do over 500,000 evaluations a year,
Okay.
out of which 30 to 35% comes from India. So India is a huge
India is a huge
market for study abroad international students. For WES, I think the strength is the resources and the research that we have done throughout the year. Because for us, like any new schools that comes in, our team is researching about it. Our team is trying to find everything possible to create a policy around it to make sure we're doing the right justification for your credentials from that university to wherever you're moving. That part has definitely the strength of WES. We have been able to literally, we get students from all around the world, like over, 200 countries.
Okay.
Even the countries that don't exist anymore, we have done credential since we have been in business for 50 years.
Yeah.
So that strength of knowledge and research definitely helps us stand out and definitely makes it easier for us to evaluate more new schools, because I feel like I think I've heard it somewhere, like every 3 weeks, there are like 10 new universities that come up in India.
Okay.
So for us, all the universities and everything, all the research, all the accreditation and different ways that India recognizes this is very important for us. So our team, we have a really strong team for that. We have teams who visit India twice a year to learn more about what's happening on the ground. So I feel like the strength of that research has helped WES a lot to stand out. And definitely we are also exploring and expanding to different ways that we can help immigrant students, coming up with different ideas and projects and products for them.
Talking about fraudulent activities, there are also quite a lot of agents who kind of say that, if you give us this much money, or if you are associated with us, we kind of will like put you in through a university, but then actually they don't turn out authentic.
Yeah, I mean, see, any business has, people like that, right? Pick up any business, they're always there. Fraudulence and frauds always happen in every kind of business. But I think in this case, what you have to be mindful is, again, connecting with your community, as I was mentioning, making sure you actually genuinely know certain success stories from those agents.
Right.
WES directly don't work with any agents. Okay. We don't recommend any agents. We don't work with any agents.
Okay.
But as an international student, myself, my advice is definitely do your research. Speak with students who have the agency have actually helped them move to US or Canada. Connect with them, learn from them, see if this is actually it actually happened or not.
Yeah.
But again, that coming back to your main question you asked me, is it me doing the research or the agency? You have to do your research. You have to, because it's your money that you're spending.
Right.
So you have to make sure that you're spending it the right place.
No, makes sense completely. I think to end this and summarize the whole thing, I think I would like you to give advice to students who are starting their procedure. What are the few things that they have to keep in mind with in terms of their application, and then even like their future prospects?
Yeah, for sure. I'll start with do your research yourself. Don't follow your friends.
Okay.
Figure out what interests you and where the job market is for that interest. You want to be in the city, you want to be in outskirts of the city, decide what makes more sense for you, what kind of experience you want to have. Because at the end of the day, it's not just the education that you're receiving, it's the experience that you're getting. That's what is building your character. That's what is building your personality. From day one, when you get there, start building your professional and personal profile. Start building on your pitch. Work for free for, organizations if possible. Add it to your resume. Be active on campus to different initiatives. Go outside of your community. Learn about different cultures. Learn about different things. Explore different food, different music. That helps enhance your perspective and builds your character to actually survive successfully and happily in US or in Canada.
Right. I think that's great advice for students who are starting out, from somebody because I've seen a lot of students just be very confused when they have this, because they're young, they have so many options now, and they just don't know what paths to like take. So I think you've broken it down really well with all the information.
Most important is just have fun. That's it.
That's it. Don't stress out so much about like moving about, because it is a stressful change in life. But I think the important part is to take that fun part of it.
Absolutely.
And enjoy the process.
100%.
Great. I had a great time talking to you. Thank you so much for doing this with us and sharing all these great insights.
Thank you so much. I had a great time here as well.
I'm glad. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode. If you still have any questions, please leave them below. I'll also link Wes down so you can check that out in the description below. See you in the next episode.